Okay, so we'll get going. Once again, hi everyone. Thanks for joining. I'm sure by now everyone knows who I am, but if you don't, I'm Taryn. I will be assisting Lindy, who I am sure everyone knows. We'll both be facilitating our product webinar for this year. Just to talk a little bit about our product webinars, we do 4 a year. This is the first of the 4. It feels like it was yesterday when we had our first webinar last year and we brought to you our new improved filter controls and our interactive GAN views. At the time, we mentioned that our goal was to accelerate product enhancements and product features. And I think we've done quite a bit over the past year. I can't believe how many new features we've brought you. We introduced Markdown, exporting of your lists, the ability to build your own reports, the conversations widget, our chart widget, our key metric widget, and a couple of more small enhancements that I'm sure all of you have found value in. The journey continues. We've got quite a few new features to share with you today. And I think we're trying something different for this webinar where we've invited 3 of our clients who will share how they've adopted some of those features and how they're getting the most value out of them. So that's something that we hope you all enjoy. If any of you want to contribute to a future product webinar, please feel free to reach out to either Lindy or myself. We're sure you've got great stories to share with the community. Our next webinar will be on the 14th of June. It will be a product feature webinar as well. And by then, I am almost positive that we'll have more features to share with you. Just to quickly recap on what our vision is, just want to quickly share something with you. So we started last year talking about our goal to make PPO more interactive and more collaborative. We mentioned that we're moving into the world of widgets, and you can already start to see that those things that we promised we'd give you, you're starting to see them, being the chart widget, the key metrics, your feed, which you're seeing there, the calendar, which you'll see a little bit more about later, and of course, a new feature, which we're not ready to talk to you about just yet, but you'll most definitely see it in our next product webinar. So that's that journey that we mentioned, and I think we are more than on track to achieve the vision that we set out, and Lindy's going to talk to you more about that as we get through. In our view, we believe that we have been accelerating product development, but we'd love to hear from you and what you think. You'll see a quick poll being launched where we just want to get your view on our pace at delivering some of these new features to you. So that's coming up now. I think you can all see it. We'd love to get your view.
Can you guys see it?
Can you all see it? Yep, there we go. Okay, we're seeing some of that. Okay, so 87% of you think that we are just right at deploying these features. 90%, perfect. That's good to hear. 92%. Okay, perfect. Okay, so for those of you that think we are going too fast, hopefully a session like today will get you up to speed with some of the things that you may have not had a chance to adopt, maybe unsure of how to apply it in your environment. And hopefully what you'll get out of today's session is some ideas on how you can take this into your project community. So we're going to quickly jump over to you, Lindy, if you're happy to talk through your agenda.
Comfortable. Thanks, Darren.
Okay, good. Just one more thing. The chat on the side is there. As you're going through it, if you've got any questions, please feel free to post them in the chat. I will respond to those. And if any of them are more detailed responses, we'll reach out to you after the session. Look out for the links to the resources for some of the topics we'll cover. Those will be made available in the chat as well.
Thank you, Taryn. Hi, everyone. So the items that we are going to be covering today is the chart and the key metric widget, conversations and improvements that we've made to the feed. Another one that's that's really excited me is remembering user input on add and edit pages. And then we've got a couple of what we call small but mighty enhancements that I'm also going to be sharing with you. I'm going to go over to some of the more exciting stuff, the things that you'll be seeing in the future, literally in the next quarter. Okay. Let me just stop sharing that. Okay, cool. So I'm going to get going. So many of the clients or of our clients have already started adopting things like conversations, the chart widget, the new key metric widget, but others might still be a little bit unsure and might need a bit of a recap or just ideas of where these widgets can be applied in PPO. So some of the items that I'm going to be touching on today are existing features, but for these features, we've made a number of enhancements, and that's purely based on user feedback that we have received via the ideas that you guys have been logging. I'll touch on that a bit later. So during the presentation, as Darren mentioned, I'll be introducing a couple of our clients that have adopted some of these features, and they'll just be sharing their use cases and basically how, it has added value to their environment. In between, Karen's also going to be kicking off some polls. We just want to, see how you guys are doing with the charts, with the conversations, all the other functionalities. Love to hear your feedback on that. And as Karen also said, if you have any questions, feel free to pop them in the chat, and we will be keeping an eye on that. Okay, so the first item that I will be covering is the new key metric widget. So in the last couple of months, we've introduced 3 chart widgets that you can use on all your list pages in PPO. So we've got the donut charts that you can see here on the right-hand side. At the bottom, I can show you an example of a tree map. This one shows account by portfolio and status. Excuse me, but the latest one that we have reduced is the key metric. So that's the block that I'm showing you here at the top. So what makes these charts so valuable in PPO is the visual representation of the data, basically alleviating the need for you guys to go to reports and dashboards to get that view, and even better, the interactivity between the charts and the list page on the left-hand side. So the short and sweet of, what you can do with these widgets. Excuse me. I'm just going to demonstrate some of the interactivity just for those that are not aware. I know some of you are already using it. So as you can see, I've got a donut chart on the right-hand side here. It's showing me account by status. So the interactivity relates to clicking into these starts. And on the left-hand side, your list basically filters down to show you the data that you want to see. So if I want to focus on projects with an active status, my active portfolio, I literally click into the donut over here, and then you can see my list page refreshing on the left-hand side, and it's basically put in a filter to show only active projects. To get rid of the filter, you literally just click on the little cross, and then it refreshes your list and your charts on the right-hand side. Looking at the legends of these charts, you also have the ability to do a strike through. So if I, as an example, do not see my proposed projects over here, I literally click on proposed, and it removes it from the chart on the right-hand side. By using these legends in terms of the strike through, it doesn't impact your list on the left, but only updates the chart that you are currently looking at. You can also use the filter control top. If I just want to focus on a specific portfolio as an example, I can click on portfolio, and I just want to see my regulatory projects. So yeah, they are over here, and you can also just see how it refreshes on the right-hand side. Just quickly going to remove that one over there. So, I mean, if you are an administrator on the call and you need assistance in terms of setting up these charts for your user base, Taryn will be posting a link to an article that will help and guide you guys, but the support team is always there to assist you if you're unsure, as well as your success managers. So don't be afraid to reach out if you just need a bit of guidance or examples of what to set up for these metrics. There is one additional item that's currently in the pipeline, currently in development, that you guys will tend to be seeing in the next 2 weeks, and that is allowing a user to specify color-coded ranges for your key metrics. I unfortunately don't have something to show for it yet, but based on certain values, you can say, I want to see this in red, I want to see this in amber, or green, or whatever the case may be. So that is something that is coming up in the very, very near future when it comes to further improvements to the charts. Before I go to the next, I would like to hand over to or introduce Josh Lindley. He is a PMO analyst from Pacific. He's located in London. He will be showcasing the key metric and how that has basically added value to their environment. So just another example of or an idea that you guys can start thinking of when you introduce these as default. Josh, are you comfortable to take over?
Yep, all good. Cheers, Lindy. Hopefully you can hear me okay.
Good.
So yeah, a quick bit of background on me. I've been an admin on PPO for, God, I think it's been about 4 years at this point. I've also implemented PPO twice at this point, and at Pacific Life Re, where I'm now working, we've been using PPO for about 1.5 years. We've got about 120 users, and over half of those are project managers or stakeholders that just want to see the information and kind of or make updates and get in and get out. We also have a new program starting up, and we've got a lot of new projects that are going to be mobilizing, as well as a lot of extra hands on deck that are likely going to be using PPO as well. So the appetite for quick and easy high-level KPIs and being able to have a snapshot of projects or be able to see the key KPIs of large groups of projects is only going to grow as this program progresses. We recently sent out comms on widgets, and I'm sure other people on the call have been in a similar situation where you get a little bit of feedback, but for the most case, people aren't that receptive. Maybe due to the amount of time that they've got, how busy they are, but some people, even given the directions, aren't too comfortable going in and doing it themselves. So we've set up quite a lot of default widgets in PPO at this point. I think we've covered maybe 9 entities at this point, just allowing us to really promote some of the information that we've got within PPO, and ensuring that new users or executives that may not use the tool as much are able to go in and really quickly see important information without the need to load a report or view a dashboard, where these kind of graphs and bar charts and pie charts are usually more prevalent. So yeah, I'll start with the projects list. So we've set up on this one a count by overall health, count by project managers, phase, status, and governance rag. So this one is much more focused towards our more executive audience and key stakeholders, allowing them to really just jump into this view and get a view of what projects they likely need to give their attention to. So as Lindy showed before, this one, we have one project that's currently red. We can quickly click on that, get more information about it, find out who the PM is, and address anything that needs to be raised on it. Moving over to actions, we've actually just had about 80 actions uploaded from an Excel spreadsheet into PPO. related to the new program of work. So we're really trying to encourage the management of actions within PPO rather than having them revert back to using that Excel spreadsheet. So the widgets on this page have been really helpful in assisting people that may not have used PPO a lot in the past to really just jump on, identify areas that really need addressing, and make those updates and get out again. So again, we can see here we've set up count by priority, whether the action is overdue or not, and then who owns those actions. And again, just clicking into the overdue field, we've got 4, and we can see that one of those is a high priority as well. So again, we can drill into that and really see quickly which actions need to be addressed. Moving over to risks, we've got a count of how many risks are in the view. Obviously, we've got this notifier at the top above the table, but we do quite like the larger widget showing a nice big count on that. We then got average age, count by rating, whether the risk is overdue, and then who owns those risks. And again, we can then just drill into that and really quickly find out what needs to be looked at quickly. This is much more aimed at probably myself as an admin and project managers rather than that senior stakeholder level, but can also be used. We have workstream leads that manage a large pool of projects in that program that's currently mobilizing. So them being able to come into here, sort by their projects within their workstream, and be able to identify the most critical risks on their workstream is very effective. We then have a very similar setup for issues. Won't dwell on this one too much, but we've got the count, average age, priority, issue owner, overdue, and the actual status of the issue. And then the main one that I'm going to really talk over is the costs entity. So this one, we've currently got it set up. So just before going into it, this bottom one isn't a default widget, but the top 4 are. So we've got a sum by approved budget, sum by actual spend, a sum of forecast remaining spend, and a sum of total at completion. And what we've done is we've set all of those to be converted to US dollars. And the main reason we've done that is there is a small pitfall that you could fall into, being that obviously, we've set it up so that each project has the currency at the project entity level, and that then feeds through into the cost line. So the actual budget, actual spend, the forecast remaining, and the total at completion are just numbers. So then when we do these summaries at this level, if we've got projects that have multiple currencies, at Pacific Life 3, we actually have US dollars, Singaporean dollars, Australian dollars, and GBP. So just summing by actual, like this one at the bottom, might actually create inaccuracies. So that's where we actually use this calculated field within the cost entity itself to apply an FX rate and convert it to US dollars, which is our reporting currency. So then we are confident that when we then view the widgets at this level, that they are all in US dollars and provide an accurate view of the financials. Just moving over very quickly, I won't take up too much more time. We then also have decisions. We've set up a count of decisions along with the status. That's quite useful for, say, the forum owners or workstream leads that have a lot of decisions that they may be managing. We also have an ideas entity, so we've got a count of those and the priority of each that's in that list. And then lastly, we've got the tasks entity where we've added an average variance across against planned and actual progress on each task, the minimum variance that we see on those tasks, so we can kind of gain a view of the lowest issues on those tasks. Account by RAG, so we can then identify any that are at risk or on track, and then the ones that are actually overdue. So they're the main areas that we've really been covering using those default widgets at PLRE. Don't know if there's any questions for me on this, or should I just hand back over to Lindy?
Thanks, Josh. A lot of wonderful use cases that you have shared, and I think for the next webinar, I might get you to present.
Thank you.
I hope a lot of the users on the side have taken notes there, but everything that you showed definitely does add value. I love what you've done on the cost entity. So yeah, I hope everybody's taking notes and applying these as defaults. I'm sure it will be very valuable for the whole user base. Okay. Sharon has just shot off a poll. If you guys can please share how your experience is when it comes to charts and key metrics in PPO. If you can complete that. While that's going on the side, I'm going to carry on. I'm just scared we run out of time. So I'm just quickly going to share on my end again. Okay, cool. Next up is conversations and the feed. So I think the poll that we wanted to kick off for this one, Karen, you can probably do after that one. We also just want to gauge in terms of the conversations and feeds. Are you guys aware of it? Are you using it? How are you using it in your project environment? So Karen will also be popping that poll over. Okay, so I am currently here on a issue view page. So here's my view, and on the right-hand side, you can see a pane basically with the details of my conversation. So the biggest opportunity that has been created by introducing conversations is to simplify. So it could be that you implemented PPO a while back before conversations was introduced. You might have overfigured some of your entities with too many input fields related to providing feedback responses or action responses. So this is the time for you guys to rethink and possibly remove some of the fields that you have implemented on your entities. So an example of simplification, and this is something that we have done on PPO and on our base product, if you were to provision PPO today. An example is on this issue. So you guys are all probably used to on your risks, your issues, your action log. You usually have your title, your description, or your relevant fields. And at the bottom, there is always a action response or feedback field. So what we've done is we've removed off of risks, off of issues, off of our demand entity. We removed the additional input field where a user would usually, assign this issue to somebody, provide a feedback, submit, the next person edits it, assigns it back to you, provides the feedback. So we've sort of taken that portion out of it, making capture very easier, as we feel that the conversation on the side basically deals with all the follow-ups and feedbacks related to the specific item. So something that you guys must please keep in mind when you start introducing these conversations is, how can I make life easier for the users? Which fields can I get rid of and rather switch over to conversations? Okay, so for those that are too knee-deep in project work and haven't seen conversations, I've got it up here on the right-hand side. So conversations is a feature that improves collaboration and response times by allowing you to discuss anything on an item in PPO. So you can switch it on any entity. It could be approvals, risks, issues, documents, projects, any of the entities on PPO. What makes the conversations pretty nifty is what you can actually do with them. So you have the ability to tag users. I'm not going to do a full conversation over here, but just to show you, if you tag users, you use the @ sign and you start typing user's name, and you can literally select it and then start typing up your conversation. Something else that you can do is you can attach a document. So you might be working on a spec related to your project, and you just want somebody to give a quick squiz. So instead of adding it as a document, going through all of those clicks, you literally attach it as a file on the conversation. You also have the ability to add an image, which is awesome. You copy paste an image and you pop it into the conversation. Once a conversation is submitted, whoever is tagged in these conversations or whoever is related to this conversation, whether it's the contact person or the issue owner, they will be notified via the feed at the top over here. So the feed, and I'm going to click on it over here. So yeah, you can see I've got 3 feed notifications. So just in short, the feed goes hand in hand with conversations in PPO. We have a bigger vision for the feed in the future to put it on the homepage and, you know, to get notified of other things in PPO being updated, issues being updated. Still work in progress, but it's also something that you guys will be seeing in the future. But we have, since we've deployed conversations and the feed, we've received various requests from users in terms of improvements, which we have addressed, and I'll talk to those shortly. If you're an admin and you would like to switch on conversations and you're not sure where or how, Taryn will be also posting an article that will help and guide you to do that. Okay, so as I mentioned, since we deployed conversations in the feed end of last year, many clients raised suggestions for improvements to this functionality, and we've addressed a couple of them between November and now. So the first improvement is allowing a user to mark a feed item as either read or unread. So what happened previously was that you would read a notification, so you've got it over here, you click into it, but at this stage you don't necessarily have the time to action it right now, and you'd like to get back to it after the meeting that you're going to run into. So what you can do as a user, and this is something new, you'll see there's a little envelope on the right-hand side. I can literally click on the envelope and it just highlights it again, and I've got my little feed notification at the top, so I'll easily find that notification in order to go and give attention to the item. Okay, so the second improvement to the feed that we have introduced is sending an email to users that have unread feed items. So we understand that there are days that you aren't logged into PPO for good reasons, hopefully, like being on leave or attend workshops, attending meetings and things like that. So what we've introduced is a weekly email reminder for unread feed items. So we definitely don't want to spam you guys. So it's an email that you will receive once a week on a Thursday, 11:45, that's South Africa time, if you have feed items that have not been read and are older than two days. So it'll literally be one email that you will receive on a Thursday, just to say, you know, somebody's trying to collaborate with you on PPO. So that'll just nudge you, okay, I have to go log into PPO, somebody's waiting for feedback. So that's the second improvement to the feed. The last one, and it's small, but I think also powerful, is the notification count that we've added in the title of your page. So right at the top where it says risk view, yeah, you can see I've got a little number 1 in brackets, and that corresponds with the one that I have on my feed item. In addition to that, there's also a little sound alert that you will hear if a new feed item, you know, pops up. So it's just additional ways, basically, to keep you alerted in terms of feed items that are coming through to you. So in short, Conversations has simplified the way that we give feedback to, you know, additional stakeholders. It's, you know, easier to get feedback from other users instead of editing records, reassigning it again, updating the action response. Much easier just to keep the chat going on the side. Okay, I've done a lot of talking. I'd like to introduce Charlene Langenhoven just to also chat about Conversations. So Charlene is a project manager at the University of the West Cape, and she will share how compliance-related actions. Another thing just to add, Charlene is actually on leave currently. So I would like to say a special thank you to you, Charlene, for your dedication and commitment to share your story with us today. We really do appreciate it. Charlene, are you comfortable to take over?
Yeah, while Charlene is switching over, just take notes of the poll around your experience of conversations. We'd love to hear what you think and how you're using it. So please give us your feedback.
I think you're on mute, Charlene.
I'm talking and I'm on mute. I apologize. Thanks, Lindy. Thanks. I've shared my screen. Can you see it?
Yep.
Okay, good. I think my manager is in this call, so thank you, Lindy, for mentioning that I am doing this on my leave. So hopefully when I get back from leave, there will be more goodies waiting for me. Anyhow, we have conversations at the university. We do have that. Okay, there's my manager as well. We have it switched on for quite a few entities. And I think one of the reasons that I was asked to just share my story today is the fact that I specifically use it on the actions entity. Why the actions entity specifically? We run a weekly review with all the projects, or at least the in-flight projects. It's kind of a compliance review that we are doing on a weekly basis. Part of this also form part of creating that culture, because we've only been using PPO for, I think, a little bit over a year, if I'm not mistaken. So our approach is do the weekly review, and we kind of set a culture where we look at all the entities, where we look at our governance, etc. So it's everyone must comply to PPO and what we expect of them. What I've been doing, and this is now prior to conversations, was I used to raise an action, a compliance action per project. And what I then would do, I would open a number of other PPO tabs, just so that I can note down in that action entity that I've opened up per project, whatever issues I found or where the project managers are not in compliance. This takes quite some time because I had to navigate between entities. Once conversations were introduced, it made it that much easier for me, because I could simply, just by using conversation, alert the project manager, and I would still use the action entity, alert the project manager that I've done the compliance review, and we would start a chat around that compliance review. And instead of me going to look all over the place and or the project manager, we remained within that single action entity, which is quite helpful, especially if you are reviewing more than 2 or 3 projects. One of the other things that I also found useful is the desktop notification via the bell. I don't know if the users that are in attendance have experienced, or the clients have experienced that yet, but for me, that's just some kind of a lifesaver, because all I need to do is keep PPO open and the bell would ring. It's kind of a soft bell. It's not annoying or irritating, I promise you, but it will alert you. Some of my project managers our project managers has stated that they keep PPO open on our review day, the entire day, and they immediately notified that either myself or whomever has posted a conversation, either a reply or started a new conversation, which our turnaround time is just much better than what it used to be. I also used to make use of third party, either the email or the WhatsApp, to assist in alerting the project managers that the review has started. Please respond this, that, and the other. And nowadays, it's much easier with this bell, the desktop notification bell. Also, what I found is that in future, I'm going to drop the actually starting up that compliance review item and go to the entities itself and just start a compliance conversation around the entities. So hopefully I will totally eliminate the action item that I'm currently using for my compliance review. Also in future, I don't know whether it's switched on, and perhaps I can just show you one of my compliance review items. And this is myself and one of our project managers just chatting away after I have listed the review, the outcomes of the review. And as you can see, it's immediate, same day that I get the responses. And we can actually close out that action item within the same day, which for me is great, because usually what I used to do, I either note it in Notepad outside of PPO, and then bring it back into PPO after everything is updated from the project manager. Now I've got this kind of trail, audit trail around what happened between us and how far we got with the actual compliance review. Also in future, I don't know if some of you, but we've got this action response happening. So every time I want to update the action item, then I need to complete the action response. Sometimes I just put down progress. I put down literally if anything, if the action item isn't closed with after the comment from the project manager or whoever actioned what they needed to action. So it becomes a bit confusing, because now we're having the conversations on the one side and I'm having to also update the action response, myself and the project managers. So we'll be looking into dropping this action response, and if conversation can then help us, the conversation feed can help us in terms of that. Lindy, I hope I've said everything that I possibly could.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Charlene. And again, another great use case. And I'm very glad that you guys are considering dropping a field, just taking away a little bit more admin and frustration from the user base as well. No, so that's really good to hear. Thank you very much for sharing. Okay, cool. Before I hand over to Christian, I just want to share one last improvement that we have done or made to conversations. So for clients that use PPO for time entries, there might even be clients on the call that aren't aware that you can do time entries in PPO. But for the clients that do time entries, you will already be aware that if you update something like an issue, a risk, a task, these items automatically pop up on your timesheet page when it's in this filter, items updated this week. So PPO is really clever enough then to assume that if you've updated something, you've spent time on it, so it automatically puts it on your timesheet, and it makes life easier in terms of capturing your time for that specific day or week. So the improvement that we've made relate to time entry specifically is that we also now include items where you have had a conversation on it. So if you've added a conversation or you've updated a conversation, that item that you are having the conversation against will also be added as a line item on your time entry capture page. So that's the last improvement that I can chat about today in terms of conversations. Okay, I'm going to introduce Christian Kriel next. He will also be chatting about conversations. Christian is a project engineering manager at Indy, and he'll be sharing the use case with us related to resource allocations for their engineering activities.
Hey, good afternoon, Lindy and Taryn and the rest of the people on the call. Thank you also for the opportunity. I would just like to say just brief introduction. I am the CapEx engineering manager for Mondi, and we use PPO as our online platform for managing projects within our department. We've got about 100 users that's actively using PPO. And yeah, we strive to keep PPO as our single line of source of the truth, because within our line of work, there's a lot of changes happening, and to make 100% sure everyone in our department is always aligned to the most recent information, we always keep PPO as the single source of truth when it comes to project management within our department. When it comes to conversations, I just quickly want to give brief context in how we use it and on what entities. So we basically use it on two entities within PPO. First one is our resource allocations entity. Now, my engineering department specifically uses the the resource allocations entity for planning, tracking, and reporting on all of our engineering deliverables. So that is what we use the resource allocation entity for. And then we've also got an internal drawing office. And we've developed a entity called drawing requests under the other entity on PPO, and we uses this entity specifically to manage drawing requests that comes in our department. So that is the two entity mainly that we've activated the conversations function. And just a few examples on conversations that we've already had on the two entities. I just quickly want to show on the projects entity where I specifically had a question regarding a pre-engineering plan that we had to load and capture under the resource allocations entity. So I've addressed this communication to all the discipline engineers that we've allocated on this project. And my question was specifically to define the pre-engineering plan for this project. And this was during the planning phase of the project before the project was applied for. And you'll see there that I've had two responses as well from two of the engineers that shows that they've done it. Then the next example that I just would like to show, this is also on the resource allocations entity. Here I have asked some of the project stakeholders to review our project quality plan that we've compiled and loaded on PPO for the specific project. You see here that the project manager, Piet Karlitz, have replied and said that he will action it, and then he also later replied in together with his mechanical engineer that they've reviewed it and they're happy with the document. Then going over to the drawings entity, our drawing office is really actively using this conversations entity on the or function in the drawing request entity to talk to each other, to follow up on progress on certain drawings. And we're also using it a lot in terms of drawing initiators to follow up on the progress of their specific drawings. So here we've got an example where our drawing office manager asked one of our mechanical draftsmen to tie up with one of the drawing initiators to go and do a site walk with them to take critical measurements on site. So yeah, just to come back, in general, I've made a list of benefits that we see within the conversations entity, and I'm just going to list a few quickly. So just before I get there, just in my opinion, I think face-to-face communication will always remain one of your most effective communications. I don't think we can replace that, but to have an effective quick tool to effectively quickly communicate online with your team and so forth definitely contributes to being more effective within your department. So that is one of the things that we saw, that this conversation entity is really helping us a lot. But a few benefits, it's things that we use it for is a quick follow-up on outstanding task, informal way of giving instruction to certain dedicated resources, effective way of reminding resources of due dates and key deliverables. Now, I know PPO is quite good at reminding you of deadlines and so on, but sometimes people choose to ignore that. So I use the conversation entity to specifically ask people to attend to certain key deliverables. Then also informal quick discussions regarding certain technical points that we need to clarify, following up on drawings that I've already mentioned. And then also what we found is it really improves the interdiscipline communication between our different discipline engineers within our department as well. So just one improvement that I did load as well, and that is when I send a message to someone on the conversations entity and they don't respond. For some reason, it falls off of my inbox. And then I don't have a way of going back to that message and actually following up later on if I didn't have a response. So that is one improvement that I just want to list. But yeah, that's from my side.
Christian, I think you're lucky. I think our DevOps team is on the call, so I'm hoping that they're hearing you. I'm sure they've seen your idea being logged, but now that they're hearing you, I'm sure they're going to look into it for you.
Thank you, Darren.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Christian. I really appreciate it.
The
And
pleasure,
love
Lindy.
hearing the good feedback and that it's actually helping you guys, you know, with moving items a bit quicker and getting response. Okay, great stuff. Okay, I'm quickly going to share my screen here again, and Taryn's going to shoot off a poll for us. We would like to gauge in terms of who is subscribed to our blog. If you have subscribed, if you haven't, I know many of you guys are already subscribed, but for those who haven't, please do. We'd like to encourage you to do that. These changes that we are sharing today and all the new features that we deploy, we communicate on our blog. So our intention with you subscribing is not to spam you with emails. You guys will literally get one email per week, which will have links to either new features or, you know, or some project management related topics that we are discussing or sharing. So to spice things up a little bit today, somebody is going to be in luck. So we are going to be giving away either a R1,000 Takealot voucher or a $50 Amazon voucher. So it depends on your location or what you prefer. So the criteria for that is you must have attended the webinar today and you must be a blog subscriber. So the winner for that we will announce by the end of the week on Friday. So we'll reach out to the lucky winner. Okay.
And just in case you're not sure, I've posted the link to subscribe to the blog. It's in the chat. If you want to stand a chance to win that R1,000 voucher, even if you think you subscribed, I would just go and subscribe again, just in case.
I think I'm also going to Taryn to try my luck over there. Okay, cool. I'm going to move over to, as I said, what we call small but mighty announcements. I'm going to try and run through them quite quickly. We don't have much time left. So I'm going to start off with the first one, and the first one relates to PPO's 60-minute timeout. So I'm just going to drill into an issue. I'm going to go into edit mode. I'd just like to demonstrate this for you. Let's just take that away and do this. Same test record I used earlier. Okay, so the improvements that we've made to the 60-minute timeout is as follows. So what sometimes happens is you're busy capturing either a project or you're updating an issue. Somebody comes into your office, you have to go and join a meeting. An hour and a half, you get back, and by the time that you want to submit your item, PPO logs you out and you lose your data. There are other workarounds for it that everybody has sort of their own one, but the improvements that we have made is that PPO, if you're logged out, will remember your data that you've captured for 24 hours. So I'm just going to demonstrate it quickly over here. So yeah, you can see I have now updated this issue record. I've got 3 items over here. On my next screen, I'm just going to force a log out so that PPO can see that I am not logged in anymore. So I come back from my meeting and I click on submit, and PPO logs me out. I literally just log back in, click on login, and it takes me back to that same page and it brings back the data that I was busy capturing. So I'm hoping that this is something that will save you guys some time. It's definitely something that has happened many a times with me in the last 10 years with PPO. So this is applicable to any single add or edit page in PPO. So I really do hope that you find this one valuable. So that's the one. The next a powerful one that we have introduced, and I'm going to use the benefits entity just quickly to show you, is we have allowed administrators the ability to choose the number of decimals that they want to see on currency fields, percentage fields, and decimal fields. So I'm just going to demonstrate how admin would update this. So as an example, if I want to change this planned value to only have two decimal points, I go to data fields. Almost there we go. And I'm looking for my planned value field. So if I open that one up, you'll see over here we've introduced this number of decimals. So if I just make this one a 2 and I submit, and I refresh on this page, you can see that the planned value now only has 2 decimals. The extra nice thing about that, if I now want to go and pull a benefits report that I'm quickly going to do over here, and you'll only see it on the one field because I've only updated it on the one field. So it automatically pulls through to your reports as well. So yeah, you can see my planned value is the 2 decimals, and the others still have the 3 that was specified. So that's the one thing. Another one that I can show you, and some of you are aware of this, I'm just, sharing it again in case you haven't, seen it on a blog article, is that we have extended the default length of custom text fields in PPO. So previously, or just let me just first explain. So the title field over here, this is a normal text field. So the maximum character limit on it used to be unlimited, but what we've done is allowed the administrators to set the maximum character length to 100. So I think that also helping cases, especially as an example, if you have a demand entity that usually just had a 50 character limit and it becomes a project. So you can literally go and increase your text field character length. Okay, the last one in the small but mighty enhancements category, let me call it that, is improvement to our create from template project business rule. So business rules, create from template one, is something that is extensively used by our PPO administrators. So it's that rule in the back end that when you, let's say, add a project, it automatically creates a set of health indicators or comments or governance requirements. So previously you did not have this global filter toggle over here and also not the view button. So for those of you that have gone through the exercise of adding template projects, usually when a template project is added, you add as an admin project and you mark it as inactive because you don't want to see that on your portfolio of projects. Previously, without having this global filter toggle, if you've added your template project and you come back to this screen, you didn't have the ability to find your inactive project. So we introduced this little button over here. It seems small, but it really saves time and alleviates a lot of frustration. You literally toggle it off and you find your inactive project and you can select it. The other thing is, if you've already got these rules set up and you might want to tweak your template project for health indicators and comments, you literally click on the view button and that takes you to your template project, and you can scroll down and update whatever is needed in terms of health indicators and comments. Okay, so that is the last in terms of small but mighty. The next up, which also gets me very excited, and I think everybody at PPO too, and I hope it rubs off on you guys as well, is our upcoming new features. So I think while I'm getting my screen ready over here, Karen's going to start a poll. So she's going to give you guys the opportunity to tell us what features you think will make PPO even more awesome than it currently is. So if you guys can please have a look into that poll and give us a bit of feedback.
And really, it's anything that you think will make PPO even better. Just list as many as you'd like. We'd love to hear your thoughts.
Thanks, Darren. Okay, and again, don't forget, as we mentioned earlier, these enhancements that we have deployed, what we're busy currently working on in development, most of these have come from our idea community, ideas that you guys have logged. So I'm just quickly going to show you again where you can log an idea, how easy it is. So hovering here over your help icon on your main menu, you literally click on log an idea. So by clicking on that, the only thing that you need to do is you provide a short and sweet title, and you just explain in the details box over here what it is that you think is going to make PPO even better. And you literally click on submit. From our side, we screen these ideas that are coming through, and you'll tend to run within a week, maximum 2 weeks, you will get a response on there, whether we think it's a great idea, maybe it's something that PPO can already do that we can maybe just help you through. So yes, please, if you guys can go ahead and log new ideas for us.
Maybe, Lindy, we can think about in our next product webinar, incentivizing the best client ideas. I think you'll have to go and speak to your boss about
You speak to your boss.
funding a prize or an incentive for the best client idea that's come leading up to our next product webinar in June.
Great, boss. Please put that in the budget. Okay, cool. Okay, let's get to the exciting stuff. So in line with the vision that Taryn explained when the webinar started, is that we want PPO to be more interactive. So the first item I'm going to chat to is interactive reports and dashboards. So our development team are working on improving the look and feel, as well as the usability of these dashboards in PPO. So I'm going to give you a bit of a sneak peek. So I'm just going to pull the portfolio dashboard over here. I just quickly want to pull that up. Here we go. Okay, so I think everybody has seen a portfolio dashboard in PPO. We've obviously just made awesome improvements to it. This is not at all the final product. It is currently in development. We'll keep you guys posted in terms of when we'll be introducing it to the client base. But just to talk to some of the improvements, or the interactivity over here, is if I now look at this bar graph, you'll see if I hover over it, it basically tells me there's 9 green, 1 amber, 0 red. If we look at the legend at the bottom, if you hover over them, it removes whatever you, or it shows what you are basically putting your hover over on. If I just want to, as an example, focus on whatever is amber, sorry, give me a second, I can click on red, get rid of that, and then get rid of my greens. So the interactivity that you're seeing here, in addition to this, what we are also aiming to achieve is to give you the ability to drill through into the underlying data. So I think that's where most of the value is going to come from when we get to that point. So as an example, if we drill on benefits, I can't demonstrate it now, it's still in development. We would like, a click through to the underlying data so that you can evaluate what's going on with the underlying data. So we've already worked on this bar graph. We've worked on the pie chart here on the right-hand side. Again, you can use the legends on the right to either add or remove certain sections. You'll see we've also got this little icon over here, a context menu, what we call it. So the things that we already have now is you can literally click on, I want to view this section in a full screen, and you can drill into that, and it makes it a full screen. You can download these charts in PNG, PDF. You can also add a data table. So if I just scroll down to the bottom here, you don't see a data table over here, but if I click on view data table, it basically gives you a summary of what you are seeing here. So I think this is really pretty nifty. The work that the DevOps guys are busy doing on this, and obviously the end product we'll see pretty soon. I think in the next couple of months. Just another example that I want to show you is a new and improved bubble graph that we've worked on. Again, for now, just showing you the hover overs. The person can see, again, also, strike throughs on the legends at the bottom. And I think the last one that I just want to show you guys is a line graph that we've also worked on. So I'm just going to use the S-curve as an example for this one. So again, you'll see the hover overs, you'll see exactly what your budget, your actual, your total at completion and things like that is. So it's definitely becoming sexier and it's definitely becoming more interactive and useful. So I just wanted to give you a sneak peek in terms of the reporting and where we are going, but we'll keep you guys posted on the blog related to this. In addition to what I've showed you now, other graphs that we are looking at exploring or introducing is something like a quant or maybe a gauge, things like that. There's even, you can even give more ideas of what you think will add value in terms of, what types of graphs you would like to see in reporting. Okay, so that is the new feature for reporting. The second last one that I'm going to touch on is the calendar widget. So we are one step closer to a configurable homepage in PPO. So Taryn also mentioned it when we started the webinar, and we usually just have little screenshots. This is the idea that we have. That's sort of where we're going, but we are busy on that path. So I'd just like to share that with you as well. So here I am on my homepage. Please ignore the white space on the right-hand side. We're also working on something exciting that will 10 to 1 be popping in there. But I just want to give you an idea. This is not the final product. I just want to sort of talk to you in terms of where we are going with this calendar widget. So as you can see, I'm currently showing a month view. So you can see a full month view. You'll have the ability to only focus on 1 week. Over here, I'm just putting it back on month. You have your standard PPO functions where you can go back to the previous month, the next month, focus on today. And I've also plotted just a little bit of dummy data over here. So yeah, you can see, as an example, this blue block is saying today is the 15th. And these items over here is literally items that have been logged in PPO. So these are a couple of tasks that have a title and a due date. So anything in PPO that has a title and that has a due date, you will have the ability to plonk it onto your calendar. So it will serve as a reminder of things that you need to do, as an example. Another thing, and it's not working yet, is we will give you the ability to drill into these items, to get to that record in order to update it if it is, a case that you completed it on that day. I'm just going to click on the gear icon. It's not showing much yet, but just so that you can, start thinking about it. If we click on the gear icon, this is sort of where you will be able to have control over what it is that you want to see on this calendar. So also the same as where, you're on a list page and you go into the gear icon, you can restore defaults, you set up your own defaults. So that's sort of where we are going. If you still need your underlying data at the bottom and you don't want your calendar to take up all of the space over here, you literally just hide that section and you've got your home page at the bottom. But yes, as we mentioned, where we're going is we want to sort of have the home page customizable in your hand. And obviously what makes it pretty awesome is the calendar. Already the widgets that we have introduced, it's at this stage just trying to put all of it together and then bringing it to you guys. Okay, the last one, I don't have much to show on it, but just as a heads up, something that you'll 10 to 1 also be seeing in the next month, no pressure DevOps, is with the exception of the key metric widget, the donut widget that we've done, the tree map, we're also going to be introducing a bar chart widget that you'll be able to add into your list pages in PPO. Okay, I've been doing a lot of talking. Taryn, I'm not sure if I missed anything from my side.
No, Lindy, I think you've covered it all.
Yeah, I don't know how many people are left on the call. I know we have overrun a little bit. Are there any questions for myself and Taryn? No questions. I assume you've been tackling all of it on the side on the chat, Taryn.
Yeah, it's been a quiet bunch, but no questions. I think just thanks to everyone for joining. We'll share the recording and all of the resources that we've posted in the chat. We'll send that to you via email shortly. But yes, we hope we found value in today's session. Just as a reminder, we do these webinars 4 times a year, and our next webinar is coming up on the 14th of June. I am posting the link in the chat so that you can already mark that in your calendar. By then, I am sure we'll have a lot more to show you and have more client use cases to share. So we'll be looking out for your registrations for the next webinar on the 14th. And thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, ladies. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
You
Bye.
too. Bye all. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Well done, team.